So, Joel, how's your weekend been?
Oh, I think I know where this is going.
Joel, and welcome to the weekly poll.
Oh, shit, dude, we're starting? Hold on. All right. What's up?
What up, Rob? I was just shutting up Joel, old school style.
Oh, yeah. You're a dick.
Brings me back.
I clicked it never runs out, Mopey. It doesn't, so ha ha ha. Anyway, guys, it's been a little while. It's been. So today's major topic is going to be, did Secret Empire suck? Did it suck in general? Is it worth it? That kind of a thing. And we do have differing opinions here. This is not going to be just a trounce on the thing or agree on it. This is going to be a much heated debate today. But before that, it's been so long since we've had everyone here. I'm getting a phone call, which I'm going to ignore. I just wanted to start at the top. For people who have never been here before or haven't been here in a long time, this is the Weekly Poll, our weekly show where we talk about pop culture, comic books, and video games, and movies, and whatever the hell else we want to talk about. I'm Benny the Comicstorian. Over on my left is Rob from Comics Explain. To the left of that is Sal from Comic Pop. And on the right of me is someone that doesn't matter. His name is Joel, and he makes cooking shows.
I did that a couple times. Trying to work on a bar show.
On the Sal thing, we skipped a few weeks here. Sal, what have you been up to? Give us a quick rundown of your day-to-day, what the Sal has done.
Well, the Sal, I like that. We're going to have to go with that from now on. The Sal has been up to just producing shows and doing what I do best, which is chatting about comics and delving into the nitty-gritty. We produce 5 shows a week, and we've been doing it for 3 years. It's been a dream come true, having a blast.
All right.
That's it. I mean, like, I assume that was what you wanted. Not like, I took the garbage out.
What you've been doing, not your channel in general, just what you've been doing for the last couple of weeks since we've been live.
Oh, man. For the last couple of weeks, we've just been, like, we've been covering Secret Empire. We've been talking about the Batman Wojar. We've been discussing the, like, Marvel Legacy thing and what that means.
That's what we're going to talk about today. Marvel Legacy, Secret Empire, and Generations. Today's going to be a very Marvel-centric episode.
I think it has to be, because Marvel's kind of like been surprisingly newsworthy, despite them not really doing a lot of things that people are happy about. I think it's kind of exciting to be talking about Marvel right now.
Rob?
Buying a house, man.
That's it?
Yeah.
I mean, hanging out with you, but that's nothing to run home about. So.
That's not news.
Yeah, Rob and I both have done a big move. I guess I'll do both of our updates. Just
why
so
do you have to do both of our updates? I'm a man.
I don't my own
update.
I don't know if I believe that.
I'm a grown man.
Okay.
Oh, the honeymoon's over, Sal.
So yeah, like I'm buying a house, which I'm really excited about. It's nice out here. Yeah, went to like PAX West.
So Benny, what else is going on?
So Rob and I have been moving recently, and we've started our own production studio, and we have a podcast.
R&BE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we're doing a lot of cool things, hanging out. We're doing this Twitch channel full time now. As of
we're making waves. Got a lot of big things going on.
We got a lot of big things. Rob's a highlight level in Destiny now.
Yeah.
Rob, you're a highlight level.
You know, it doesn't sound as impressive when you say it like that. Like, yeah, Rob has nothing to do. He's just been playing Destiny 2 all the time.
Well, and for those of you wondering,
I feel that's a lot of people right now just playing a lot of Destiny 2.
What are you doing?
Essentially massaging you is what he's doing.
Showing people we're in the same room.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, okay, I thought it was weird. I was like, okay, why are we going to be in like the same room but on 2 different computers?
It's working.
Do you want to share that
Not
one
for me.
screen?
I gotta hear myself talk.
Does it really bother you that much? Do you just want to come over here and we'll just leave that one open?
Not now. No, not now.
Just come over here.
Because you were like, no, man, you can't.
And just come over here.
No.
I kind of want to sit and fight over the
set
same
up. We can
mic.
play Overwatch on it when we're done. Just come over here if you want to just work on this one.
No, it's okay, man. It's okay.
Well, no, I don't want to.
Yeah, no, I don't want to do it. So, okay, Joel, how's the cooking show been going?
Every time with it, I only did a couple of those. Everything on my channel is going really good. I came back from Fan Expo last week, had a great time. Hit up a farmer's market this week. Oh, man, they had a Russian cart there making pierogies. I have no idea what they dusted that stuff with. Pretty sure it's pure MSG because it was amazing. It was
Joel,
all about
say, I want your life.
Do you though? I think this might be a grass is greener on the other side kind of thing.
My days are so awesome. I went and had a pierogi at a farmer's market.
It was great. Oh, I won, what is it, a contest for a copy of Shadows of War, the Shadows of Mordor sequel. But here's the thing, I found out it was an Xbox One version of the game, not a PS4 version of the game, so I'm going to have to probably exchange it when I get it.
Not to rug it in there, buddy, but I got to play it. It's pretty cool.
I got to play it too, actually. It is pretty good, isn't it?
I got to have a private room where we got to sit down on a couch and go through various missions. It was a lot of fun.
Sweet. It sucks that,
I
like
just
all
gotta rub
that...
it in. See, I'm just like...
Well, you're not rubbing in that hard. I got to play it too.
Oh, whatever. Ruined my fun.
That does look pretty good.
My time was better, is what Benny says.
So, okay, cool. That's what everyone's
That's
been
what we're up
doing.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, Houston and I have been having a secret discussion on what pierogies are. And he was showing me.
Yeah, Houston, pop in Rob's computer real fast so they can see that you're also here.
They look really good.
Yeah, they're
What, do you guys
Russian.
think I'm making Houston up? I'm just pretending?
Houston is Rob's imaginary
Oh,
friend.
hold on.
Only he
Hold
could.
Scott,
Now
there
you're
you go.
off the camera. Houston.
Let's go to the other side.
Wow.
I'm a real boy. Okay, bye.
Betty's got a whole freaking commune going on over
We
there.
have a production team. There's also 3 more guys in the other room, a guy out shipping things at the moment, and a camera guy fucking with a drone in the backyard. All of those people are made up. It's just the 3 of us right now.
Going to apply for tax-exempt status soon. Oh, yeah, my house is a temple. Yes, all these people worship at the altar of
Rob was
Benny.
telling me about the Mormons and their magical underwear. Okay, if we
Oh,
wear
yeah.
that, do I get tax exempt status?
Dude.
Probably.
Alright, check
I'm
this
going to
out.
say yes.
So I'm looking at houses,
What the-
and one of them is across the street from a Mormon church.
Ooh.
And she's like, "So what do you think about it?" And I'm like, "It's across the street from a Mormon church. I'm not living across the street from Mormons and their magic underwear." And then Benny didn't know that Mormons wore magic underwear.
Yeah, he told me that, and I looked it up online. I'm like, oh, they do. It's called temple garments.
So temple garments. Yeah, they believe.
Oh, there's
it
a
makes
lot
it
of crazy
closer to
stuff.
like Jesus or Joseph Smith. I can't remember which one.
That's the one.
Sal's over there like, I thought we were talking Secret Empire today. Where'd the Mormon underwear come from?
Talking about Mormons and their magic underwear.
Well,
Hey,
well, there's
that's-
both.
That's
There's
the show.
There's Joseph Smith and Jesus, and when you die, you get to go and stand before them, and they say if you've lived a good Mormon life or not with your Mormon underwear.
Yep.
Ah,
What?
if you're not
You
wearing
wore
it,
your
God help
underwear
you.
consistently, you get to go to heaven now.
I thought
This is
Amish
true.
people were weird.
Yeah.
Amish people are cool. They just build stuff, and you can
True.
buy it from
Dude,
them,
Amish
like
people are
exorbitant
legit,
rates.
man. Dude, they are so legit.
Yeah.
According to
sell
Tweet,
delicious
when you get to
pies.
heaven, you flip a coin, and that's who you go to if you're Mormon.
Wow.
And Joseph Smith was called a prophet. Dum 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 dum.
Oh, God, he's doing the South Park song. All right, let's go ahead and move to the topic before we offend more people.
Yep.
All right, so there was an amazing storyline that came out recently, hit the headlines as being the most incredible storyline that Marvel has ever put out. They had nothing but fan praise, sales of
Oh,
a
yeah.
million copies through the roof. All
I
of the
see what you're
writers were
doing.
heralds for their amazing writing. It was known
Oh, yeah.
as Secret Invasion.
Oh,
Everyone's a
taking it
skull.
way back.
No, Secret Empire, guys. It came out. I don't know where these 2 individuals on my far left and far right stand on it, but I know that I strongly dislike it. And I have,
loved it.
and after reading it 3
too.
times and nitpicking it at this point now to create a video for it, I have a lot of very nitpicky complaints. And I'm saying it right now, they're very nitpicky complaints, but I have them and I get to say them because this is a show that I'm on. But
And that's what we do.
and Rob is very much a huge fan of it. But we'll go to our opinions on it in a minute. First, I want it, Sal, where do you stand on the Secret Empire debate?
I mean, overall, I didn't read a lot of the tie-ins. I kind of actively avoid them. So as I understand it, like Secret Empire was a lot better if you were only reading Captain America, like the Captain America books. I wasn't because I don't read Captain America books. I'm just not as into them. But I read all of Secret Empire, read everything leading up to Secret Empire. But overall, I feel like the whole damn thing could have been really cool. And I think it could have been easily condensed into like a 4-issue, like epic, because there's a lot of really cool things that happen within the pages. But I feel like there was a lot of padding, a lot of stretching. And by the end, there were a lot of rumors about editorial influence. And having seen the impact of editorial influence that we know have happened on other books, I feel like this book really reeks of it, and I think overall, it just kind of fell flat, and I think it dragged on too long, and it didn't live up to what Nick Spencer was hoping to reach. I don't know, or did, I don't know. I'm not really a big Nick Spencer fan, so I can't really argue that he either succeeded or not. I mean, maybe he wanted this whole thing to look like that, but for me, it didn't feel like it definitely didn't feel like an epic Marvel event. It felt like it wanted to be, but I don't feel like it accomplished it. And and I think it's a strong idea that just didn't quite stick the landing.
Okay, I know Rob's ready to go on his, and he'll go before I do. Don't worry, Joel. Where do you stand on Secret Empire? Just so we know where this debate's going.
I'm actually pretty right there with Rob, actually. I really dug the hell out of it.
Wait,
I
hold on. I just want to say, this is going to be an
Fist.
amazing debate. We have 2 and 2.
I know, it's amazing.
It's 2-on-2. It's funny how that breaks down. I will agree with a lot of the points that Sal said there, where you can feel, especially near the end, you can kind of feel what might have been the sticky fingers of editorial there, where it's like, I thought I knew where you were going with this. You probably should have gone there, but I get the feeling they wanted the status quo to be retained. But for the most part, like, this is one of those things, too, where it's like I felt, if I may be a Nick Spencer Captain America hipster for a second here, I liked it before it was a big event that was generating headlines.
Pushing up your glasses only works when you have glasses, Joel. Otherwise, it just looks like you're flipping everyone off.
Hey, guys, I was in before it was cool. But yeah, I liked it. I will admit it has problems, but overall, I would say it's definitely right up there with some of my more favorite Marvel events. And I mean, God, I think we can all agree, no matter where we land on this, blew Civil War 2 out of the fucking water.
There wasn't a high bar to jump.
No, it really wasn't.
I'm going to say I like Civil War 2 more.
Ooh, bold words, sir.
Based on the recommendations, Sal and I are on the left side of the debate. Rob and Joel are now on the right side. I'm gonna add Texas as the wrong side to their side. Can you guys tell I'm having a little bit of fun with
OBS?
With OBS today? Yeah.
You're really moving us
drunk.
around.
He's drunk on OBS power, everybody.
There, I got it.
All right.
Okay, anyway, so I'm waiting for Rob's face to see the wrong side appear underneath his name.
What?
No.
What did you do?
Look at the stream.
I'm looking at the screen.
Look underneath your name and Joel's name.
I don't see anything there.
It'll get there.
Oh, yeah, I see it now.
Are you serious?
Like I said, he's drunk on OBS power.
Rob, give us a quick splooge before we go into it.
No.
I'm a subscriber.
Oh, okay. Splooge.
Not for me. I don't
Yeah, I
care
thought
if
it
you
was for
splooge.
you. I was like, you don't get any splooges. You get no splooges, man.
You don't get us.
All right, so Rob, I'll let you kick off. I'll let you take point on this. Give us a bare bone, like just initial what you enjoyed about Secret Empire.
Captain America being a villain.
I mean, okay, I will say this is for my argument. That I enjoyed. I enjoyed the core plot of him taking over the U.S., them having to fight against him, them having to reconstitute the Cosmic Cube, and Captain America being a villain. I felt the ending was a little lackluster, but whatever. I mean, endings are endings. You're going to have an ending in one way or another. That's fine. I felt the idea behind the story was great. I did enjoy it. After reading it 3 times now and trying to pick out the bare bones necessities for a complete story so that I can tell people where we are, what I can't stand is the amount of fluff, red herrings, and just random plot threads that he's thrown in there that either need to be completed in a side issue or they just don't go anywhere in general.
We never found out who the Kraken was, although there is an Omega issue coming, and my hope is it's like, okay, here's answers to everything I put out.
Right. I
No, the
also
Kraken
feel like
was already established. That's Jonathan Hickman's Secret Warriors.
No, but he was a new guy in the costume, though. Elsa St. Clair said, okay, and you'll be my little agent on this. You have a close connection to Captain America, but you're not the original guy. You're a new guy.
I thought he was the original guy.
No, he was a
Because,
new
the
guy.
Hydra was established as Secret Warriors.
That was a new Kraken is who that was.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, and the biggest problem that I have with it, like outside of all the fluff, because I mean, fluff in general is a Marvel thing when it comes to events. I think we're all aware of that.
It's an event thing in general.
It's an event problem in general. We have fluff beyond belief.
It's got to be 12 issues because that's what it's got to be.
Right, exactly, and that's fine. Whatever, we deal with that in general. That's been Civil War. That was whatever the hell, Secret War, and all. They all had their fluff moments. Like that didn't pertain to anything. But I feel like the pacing was off on the story, and I have an example about it. Okay, my example is an issue. It was 2 or 3. At this point, the champions have teamed up with Black Widow. Okay.
Yes.
And I have my own arguments about that plot thread in itself, like why the hell that even happened. But we'll have that argument, I'm sure, at some point in here.
Yeah.
But there's a 3-page spread in which the champions need to train with Black Widow.
Oh my god.
They fight against a villain on a stage. They have to stop her heart. They decide that they're not going to do that. They're going to find another way to do it. Whatever. That's fine. But it's a 3-page training simulation in which they fail, and it turns into an argument about killing or not killing, and should there be another way.
Yep.
In that very same issue, we have the battle in which they attack Atlantis for the first time. The battle for Atlantis is constricted to a 2-page spread, of which the battle is only in the top. The bottom half is them stating that they didn't find what they're looking for, and then they decide to level Atlantis, or at least that portion of Atlantis, because they're going to find the Q. The battle for Atlantis, that portion of it, even though it's not a key battle, is still a core battle within the main plot. And it's been restricted to a 2-page spread to the top of it. While you were saying,
I was going to say, and some tie-in stuff, but yes, in the main book, you're right. It's only a couple.
Because the main book, main book's pacing is my problem.
Yeah.
Right.
But the champions get a 3-page spread for their training simulation that doesn't pertain to the main plot. That training simulation could have easily been 2 panels and then the argument with Black Widow.
Exactly.
That is one of my core issues. The pacing doesn't make sense. Why are we over here with the champions inside of a 3-page spread in the actual battle that matters in the actual storyline gets relegated to this? And if you want to say tie-in, that's more arguments in itself.
Again,
everything
every major event. Like Civil War did that. Like when Captain America went rogue, he jumped off the shield helicarrier, and then he rescued the Young Avengers. And so then, like, they just suddenly show up in the story later on. So it's like, well, where did they come from? Well, they came from.
Who cares?
So.
I agree. The tie-in thing is more bullshit in itself, because I even had to tell you where Maria Hill got the information to get rid of the Darkhold.
Because
it was in Deadpool.
It was in Deadpool, yeah.
Which was, can I say, one of the best tie-in arcs. Like, this is, like, as we said, that's a whole argument in and of itself. But I would say one of the other reasons I like Secret Empire, some pretty strong tie-ins, actually.
Some of them, but the problem is you don't know which ones. I read the first issue to Uprising, and half of the issue is the champions at a karaoke party.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not gonna buy all the tie-ins to figure out which one works. I have a limit. Let's say that we all have a limited budget. Everybody who's buying comics is like, I'm not gonna spend like what, $40 every month just so I can be caught up on Secret Empire.
Especially when some of those tie-ins weren't even core books that were going to keep going after Secret Empire. Uprising. Was that actually Champions, or what is that?
That was a special one-shot, is what that was.
Well, no, you know what it was. It was Music Man 625. Subscribing.
Oh, okay, good. You get this up. All right, good. I even said it in there. We saw it. It's coming.
yeah, that was coming.
I will admit that was kind of weird, because Champions got a special one-shot for Uprising. Then they also had a tie-in in their main book as well.
And they were also prominent figures within Secret Empire's main book, even though they never actually accomplish anything.
Right. Okay, let me ask you. They're a huge problem for me. Okay. So we get to the beginning of the entire story. Right? I'm going all the way back to the start. Black Widow and Tony Stark and everyone are working together. We have the decimation of Las Vegas, to which Black Widow says, I'm going to kill Steve Rogers. This is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Tony Stark says, we found another way. This divides the heroes into two more factions, giving us 3 factions of them. Okay.
Team murder, team not murder.
Exactly.
Which everyone I think is done with at this point. Like, can we not have everyone splitting off and fighting each other? Like, I'm so sick of the Avengers splitting off because their ideologies don't mash up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, there was a little civil war within the Secret Empire. Like,
I know. So we had 3 factions going on, but that's another argument in itself. So here's my problem, though. So the champions, kids who don't want to kill things, decide that they're going to not go with Tony Stark, who is going to try to save Steve Rogers and have no death. They instead decide they're going to side with Black Widow. Logical rule number one that doesn't make sense to me. And Rob and I argued about this, and Rob said comic logic, and I'm not arguing he's wrong, because comic logic does make sense. My problem is there's way too much comic logic in the story. Anyway, so the champions go with Black Widow. Okay, they argue we don't want to kill. Now, Black Widow,
which I assumed was more of a we want to keep her safe, we don't want you going off on your own kind of thing.
Okay. Black Widow, well-known spy, known for killing individuals, instead of telling the champions, screw off, I'm going to go kill Steve, decides that she's going to train the champions to become killers.
Well, I think that, didn't they force her, like, wasn't she surprised they came with her, and she's like, well, I'm stuck with you now, I gotta at least make you useful.
Well,
That's what it was.
The logic of her using them and training them into becoming killers doesn't fall apart, except for the fact that champions would never sign on for that.
Exactly.
And it was also more of Miles' thing. Miles wanted to go with Black Widow, and his team just kind of followed him was the thing, because it was his whole, I need to go meet my destiny from the whole Civil War II vision thing.
Right, except he already did.
My problem is, so we have the no murder and murder side, and inside of the murder side, we have a no murder and murder side. And then everything that pertained up until the final showdown with Black Widow, Cap, and the champions weren't even involved in the Black Widow plot. She would go off and talk to Maria Hill. She'd go off and talk to various villains, and they would be in their training room, and then they'd stop her from torturing people, and she'd be like, no, this is what has to happen. You're like, why are they here?
Well, and again, to bring up the tie-in for a second here, in like I don't think it was Upright, it was whatever special issue they had, they needed to infiltrate the Hydra Music School because they were going to be giving a performance that was Uprising. Okay, at the big Hydra function. So I assume when they weren't around, they were still infiltrating the school so they could be there for that big moment when they all pop out of the cake. That's what happened, right? There was a big cake, right? They all popped out.
Tom, do you remember the big cake moment, Rob?
No, I didn't read Uprising. I really hope there was a giant cake, though. That would be amazing.
They're like, look, Hydra Steve loves cake, and when he comes to cut the cake, we're all going to jump out and punch him in the face.
It's his birthday.
That would have been more fun.
Oh,
I like that idea.
Now, Rob, I mean, you want to bring up your argument they had in the car about that, Rob? Like, what you said that they were training? She was training them to be decoys. That was your entire argument?
Yeah, to me, it made the logic makes sense. I mean, it all boiled down to the idea that she's like, okay, so the champions want to be here, like, whatever. I mean, I can't just send them away because what if they get caught, they get captured? Then, like, they'll know what my plans are or something like that if they torture them enough, whatever. So then it's like, okay, well, then what's the next logical step? Well, then use them as a distraction. And literally just, like, send them out into the fight. Like, just send them out there to be someone that Captain America can look at and say, what in the world is going on? While she goes to take the sniper shot. And it works.
And that's literally what happened.
Sense. Yeah, that's exactly what
they
happened.
were on crowd control.
Yeah, and it made sense.
I mean, I honestly feel like the Champions Black Widow subplot would have had more weight if at some point the Champions were forced to kill an individual, and that is like an ongoing plot that we then could have been exploring now in the post-Secret Empire phase.
See, maybe we were looking at it different, because when I looked at the Champions joining up with Black Widow, I was like, okay, so this is the road that leads to Miles Morales killing Captain America.
Right.
That's kind of how I saw it.
Well, and that's how I saw it initially, too. I mean, we have
that's definitely how they wanted you to see. Like, I think they were playing on that. And in fact, when we get to the death of Black Widow, they're like, okay, now you're expecting this shit to happen. Here we go. What's amazing is even within the pages of that, you know, we had in Civil War II, we have that moment where Miles Morales faces his destiny, and he's like, no, I'm not going to kill you, see, Cap? And then turns out Captain America's a bad guy, and Miles is like, well, I guess I'll have to stop him, but I'm probably not going to kill it. Like, Miles's motivations are kind of muddled and unclear, and then at the end, when Black Widow dies, like, yeah, I am going to kill her, or kill him, and you're like, it just, for me, there were overall, my issue with the Champions and Black Widow is not necessarily, like, why did they go with her, or why did she use them? I get that. It's more like, we're dealing with so many characters and so many teams, and they all are trying to accomplish one goal.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, none of them succeed, and none of them accomplish anything that they set out to do. The only thing that we'll get into it in a minute. I don't want to just drop everything. But overall, I don't want to say that I really had an issue with the Black Widow Champions like story, in as much as it was emblematic of a problem where. Oh God, another team, another group that's doing something, and we have to really care about what they're doing, but we know ultimately that they're not going to accomplish anything because the emotional stakes of like Winter Soldier or Sam Wilson or Natasha dealing with Steve are higher than Miles Morales fighting Steve. Like, at the end of the day, we know that, like, you know, if Spider-Man has an event and, like, the Shocker or, let's say, like, Namor has a reason to kill him, we know that, like, Namor's not going to do it. We know the Green Goblin's going to do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not connected to that character. So, you know, at the end of the day, I don't know. I think Nick Spencer is relying on just us taking him at face value. Like, look, like, she's really going to kill Captain America. Like, we all know you're not going to kill Captain America, Natasha.
Yeah.
It was definitely a story that spun a lot of
plates. For him to die, this is the least likely way for it to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, can you imagine?
Especially,
can you imagine?
Was that issue 8 that happened in?
Yeah.
Yes.
We already knew that there was going to be 10 of them.
There's a scene. Let's say that this scene takes place. You know that moment where they try to mirror Infinity Gauntlet, where Sam Wilson's just walking up to Steve Rogers, and then just ping. He just gets assassinated out of nowhere, and Frank Castle's like, "Yeah, I was just lying about being Hydra." Later,
I thought that was going to happen too.
See, that would be mind blowing. I would have been like, "What?"
Right? But it also would have been a cheat, and it would have been narratively frustrating. You're like, "No, Sam Wilson's been building up to be taking over for Captain. He abandoned the Captain America persona, but it proves he's got to be Captain America, and he's going to have to prove to Steve that he's a bad guy." Like, nope. Frank Castle just shoots him, or Natasha just shoots him. It would be awesome.
Or Deadpool. I mean, the entire Deadpool arc was, do I trust him or not?
Especially because the Deadpool tie-in was, like, almost the most essential tie-in you needed, and Deadpool appears in 0 issues of Secret Empire.
Yeah,
interesting.
No, he's in backgrounds when they call him the Avengers.
Right.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's funny because Deadpool literally, other than, I would say, the Captain America Sam Wilson and the Captain America Steve Rogers tie-in.
The 2 caps in Deadpool are the most important.
Yeah, and Deadpool is insanely important. And not only that, but it also sets up the entire future Deadpool, because if you read it, Deadpool himself sets up the entire thing to betray the Darkhold information of Maria, and then she doesn't let him be the hero, so everyone assumes he was a bad guy that betrayed them.
He misses everything. It's a beautifully paced piece of tragedy from Jerry Duggan there, where it's like, not only does Deadpool lose everyone he's ever known or loved or cared about, they all think he's bad, and he misses the final fight.
Yeah. He's pinned beneath a building, and then his daughter is left to just wander the streets because she doesn't know where her father is.
He has to hear about it on the news later, where it's like, oh yeah, and then like there was 2 caps and they were punching the shit out of each other. It was nuts.
Yeah. That's more emotionally gratifying and sad than anything that happens in Secret Empire.
You know what? Speaking of the tie-ins real quick, and this one just is more of a nitpick frustration, but Peter Parker, okay? Peter Parker is off at Parker Industries doing his own thing. Like
in Europe and in Asia, so he doesn't have to be involved in anything that's
But don't worry, he's on the cover of almost every issue.
Yeah.
So he's off doing his own thing, and I get that, and he loses Parker Industries. But you would think that, hey, we've lost all of the U.S. At this point, Peter Parker's now going to go join the Secret Empire battle, and he's going to be a part of the whole thing. And I just have this feeling like Peter Parker was like, meh, there's a new Spider-Man, he's got it.
Yeah. I mean, even if there was a scene where he's like, you know what? Miles has got this. I trust him. Boom, moving on. Like, do you remember that variant or whatever that they released, where it was Old Man Logan being crucified, and it showed Peter Parker, Spider-Man looking at the camera, going, "Shh." Yeah. Like, oh my God, is Peter Parker part of the Secret Empire? Like, nope, just a lie, just a cheat.
And to make that even make less sense is Secret Empire is paced over quite a few months and days. Like,
it's a year. Like, we jump forward a year.
Okay, yeah. So it's a year. So you mean to tell me that Peter Parker was fighting with Doc Ock in wherever the hell he was for a year, and at no point did he go, oh, maybe I should go stop the whole Hydra plan with everyone else.
Right. Hydra takes over the country to the point where teachers are teaching updated textbooks about the Secret Empire. And first of all, no. Second of all, wow. Like, come on.
They do imply when Peter Parker comes back that he spent that year rallying international heroes to come and help fight the Secret Empire and liberate America.
That is bullshit.
They do literally. He shows up and you got like the European Avengers behind you. It's like, hey guys, I'm back, and look who I brought.
Show him doing that.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Yeah, because in his tie-in, it was just him fighting Doc Ock. Which, if
Yeah.
you look at the continuity, okay, well then, how is Doc Ock involved in Secret Empire for a year if Peter Parker didn't have a year jump and he stopped Doc Ock before the end of it?
It's a Shadow War, and Ock and a bunch of the other tie-ins they show wasn't 100% loyal to the Hydra cause,
Yeah.
and he was doing his own thing off in the side there.
Right.
At the
Because it's
same
like,
time, by the way, like, hey, boy, wouldn't it be fun to watch Spider-Man fight Doc Ock? I haven't seen that for the last 3 years.
started strong, ended weak that time.
Literally, it ended it's just. But that's Dan Slott's decision. Like,
Yeah.
he didn't have to do a tie-in. He
It's
could have
true.
done whatever he wanted.
No, and his tie-in was actually just the excuse for Doc Ock of making his appearance finally.
Well, and also to dissolve, like to move things to the status quo so it can be
And
updated.
to destroy
Yeah,
Parker
no,
Industries,
I thought the tie-in
which it
was
had
good
to
in
happen.
itself. It just doesn't work with everything else in the Secret
Oh
Empire.
no! Oh, the big thing for me, like for when it comes, this is part of the reason why, by the way, that I don't read tie-ins, because they don't fit in, even though they all have to go to a writer's retreat and plan it all out together. You read Generations Iron Man Ironheart, she appears in the middle of a city when she disappears in the Vanishing Point with everybody. She appears in the middle of a city by herself, and then at the end of Secret Empire, they all reappear and they all pose for a picture nobody takes.
Yeah.
It's like, that's
It's a sweet
the
picture.
quintessential like poster for every tie-in, where it's like, wait, I thought she was in on the team right here in this scene. It's in the main book right here. Well, no, in this book it's not, because we don't talk to each other. Remember in Civil War when Frontline had Guantanamo Bay, but then in Civil War the book, it was like a beautiful like Apple-inspired prison. Like, nobody pays attention. But anyway, that's just tie-ins. That's us talking about.
Rob didn't even read the Peter Parker tie-ins. We got to go back to where Rob can.
And I don't blame you. You didn't miss a thing, Rob.
You really
I
didn't.
read enough to know what was going on, but no, I didn't read it all the way front to back.
Was I
there's no
can't.
point.
Did you read? You and I talked about it. Did you read any of like the tie-ins for more than? I know you checked all of them out.
I read the
Did you
Captain
actually
America
read them?
tie-ins.
What's that?
That's the one to read.
They were necessary.
Yeah. The Captain
They had
America
all the
tie-ins were
best-
great because they shined a lot of light on the character. Like,
Oh,
one of the
yeah.
things I really dug was the whole thing with Sally Floyd, where like she does that big interview, and they were like, you can talk about anything you want to, you can ask any question you want to, but don't bring up Vegas. And like at the very end, she does, and they throw her in prison. And I'm just like,
It's
yeah.
Frost Nixon, but with Captain America. It was really
That's
good.
cool.
But
The
it was
question
pretty
is, did she
solid
bring up
because he's making a
MySpace?
legitimate case for why he's right. So
Yeah.
And I do agree. That's one of the things I did like about the story. The evil Cap, they played it right. They didn't play it like, I'm the evil clone. I'm so evil. I'm so evil. You're just going to hate me. No, like the whole point of evil Cap was if you look at it from the right light, you can agree with him.
He had layers. He was Machiavellian in his way. And that is the thing that I think when you boil it down, I like the most about this story. It's talking about authority figures and symbols and what happens when we believe too blindly in these offices of power, how easily we can all become collaborators and how easily we can all be turned to the dark side.
Yeah, that's a great message.
And I love that. And I feel like that story could have been told in 5, 4, like half the issue count.
Half the issues.
I mean,
at
every
least.
issue was 30 to 40 pages. And like I said, the pacing was the worst part. I gave the example of the Champions 3-page fight instead of the Atlantis fight. And if you want to argue it's in a tie-in, well, that's the stupidest argument ever because it was a core fight.
Oh, and then the worst part of it is when they, the whole like we're not going to kill Steve thing is I've got this thing. It finds cosmic cube shards. We're going to go do it. And then halfway through, he's like, no, it's actually bullshit. We've just been we haven't found any shards. It's not real, and I don't actually have a plan.
We've been lucky.
Like, what? Not like, and that's not for me. That's not like a holy crap. This is amazing. I can't believe that Tony Stark's alive. For me, it was like you just wasted how many issues with this subplot of them doing this because it doesn't accomplish anything, doesn't change anything. The only thing it really does is set up the betrayal by Ant-Man. But even then, you could have done that at any point.
Yeah.
Because they're living in a cave in the desert by themselves. He would have betrayed them for any reason. You don't need to have it be like, because we went on a wild goose chase and we couldn't find any cosmic cubes.
I mean,
like,
I kind of liked it because it was like, all right, like all hope is lost.
right.
Like,
But
that's
there's
it.
like 3 moments where that happens, where like where all hope is lost. Like there were a couple moments where I'm like, oh my god, can these guys win at one point? Because when we get to the climax of the book where like the shield comes down and the darkness goes away and they blow
start
up and everything,
winning.
and I'm like, oh my god, if they lose right now, I'm gonna freak out. And they don't, and I'm like, okay, thank God, we're actually getting somewhere. That was a really like earned moment. but I think it would have been earned even with just if they just played up the loss of Vegas. If the fall of Vegas had been played up a little bit better, and if that had been like the big moment, I think that the win would have felt just as earned as though they had lost like 3 times in a goddamn row.
Well, I think it's to build up a thing where, it's like most comic fans, we're jaded now whenever it's like, oh god, they got a super missile. Oh yeah, the day's totally not ruined, guys. It's like Nick Spencer's like, no, it's a 4-pronged attack. They're fucked on 4 sides. Yeah.
That's cool. I like the idea of like them being like, we took out the space guys, we took out the New Yorkers, and we took out like Vegas for some reason. But like, there's a lot of cool stuff in there. I just feel like overall, meh. But anyway.
Rob, we need to get 2 splooges before I bring up the next point I wanted to argue.
Who am I
Order up.
splooges to? Oh, Spidey
We
Pro
Like Comics too, and Spidey Bro.
Oh, splooge.
All right, so the next thing I wanted to bring up,
soft.
this is another one of my big complaints after going through this book. Like I said, 3 times, looking at the times. The amount of Deus Ex Machina answers that we've gotten in this story.
You mean Deus Ex Machina?
Deus, I like calling it Deuce because I like that game.
Deuce. Machina.
Deuces Ex Machina. Anyway, okay, first up, Barf. A character that can literally throw up whatever we need at the moment.
But only one thing and only at one time.
Okay. But not only that, the amount of times that things conveniently worked by comic book logic. Like, Rick conveniently was able to use an iPhone to get the entirety of Hydra's data. Then, Rick sent the entirety of Hydra's data to a random kid that we don't ever find anything about. That random kid somehow has a way to contact the Resistance, then has a way to meet up with them, then they believe said random kid with random information from Rick Jones.
Yep.
Well, I would say, A, Rick Jones is a genius. B, we do find out a bit about Patriot in the Sam Wilson one.
He hacked into Hydra with an iPhone. I don't care how much of a genius you
are. He's a genius!
He's Thomas Gabriel from Die Hard 4.
He hacked into NASA with this Samsung.
He hacked NORAD with a laptop.
Not only is he a genius, but he was also Marvel Universe Edward Snowden, remember, back in the early days of the Sam Wilson Cap book. He hacked into S.H.I.E.L.D. once already and got rid of their files. So I was willing to make that leap.
But no, this isn't Watch Dogs. His phone does not have capabilities to do this. They stated he stole someone's phone. So if you told me it was his phone, I'd be like, okay, cool. It's Watch Dogs. He's got all kinds of cool shit in his phone. He stole someone's phone and then in 3 minutes hacked into Hydra.
Yeah.
And he got killed.
That was the excuse for how they had all the information.
It's
even in the complete story. I worded it best. I'm like, and this is the moment where Rick Jones came forward and he gave up all the information and the entire plot of Marvel for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
But isn't it sad that Rick believed in Cap during all of this and he knew Cap was going to save him right until he got shot?
Yeah.
That was pretty sad.
I know, but I liked. I loved that moment with Rick where, like, even in the end, he's like, Avengers assemble! And they shot him.
No. That was cool. I was like, oh, I think there's hope for this book.
Yeah, that was one of the
That's his William Wallace freedom moment.
And by the way, like, we want to talk about, like, padding and wasted issues. This is my favorite issue from the series. This is almost my favorite issue because there are a couple of cool moments. But like one of my favorite issues from the series is wholly unnecessary. And it's
the Ultron bit.
It's Ultron. It's Hank Pym just yelling at the Avengers for 40 pages.
Everything they're doing wrong. See, I think that is necessary though, because that informs the backbone of this series, and that is the idea that Hydra Cap could only succeed because the heroes are constantly at each other's throat.
Right, except the ending of this series undoes all of that.
I honestly feel like, because I loved the idea of Pymtron initially when it happened, and then when it never came back, I feel like the Pymtron issue was the exact same thing that happened with Superior Spider-Man, where he was told to extend it. So Superior Spider-Man, he added in the Venom arc, and I want to say the Spider-Man 2099 arc.
Yes.
And those are why those feel so disjointed from the story. And I feel like the Pymtron situation was one of the things thrown in so they could stretch to 10 issues.
Absolutely. I think you're totally right.
But it was pretty great, even if it was.
It was a cool idea.
One issue, that should have almost been like, you could have made that the Omega issue where the Avengers are like, whoo, and then they get like a distress call from like the destroyed Avengers mansion or whatever, and they go there, and Imtron, and he's like, hey, I have a couple, he does this Festivus alien grievances where he's like, I got a problem with you people, and you're going to hear about it.
Feats of strength and the aluminum pole.
I mean, they even worded in there with another Deus Ex, there you go, Rob, Deus Ex Machina, where they literally say when the shield came up, Ultron got to Earth and then just went north. And I'm like, how did he get through the shield? That's like an entire plot point.
Well, because at least they addressed it instead of just being like, screw you, nerd.
They don't mention anything. All they say is Ultron arrived as soon as the shield went down, and then he hid in the north. And you're like,
no.
Why didn't Captain Marvel follow the invading Ultron army?
Why didn't anyone hear that? Go, oh shit, there goes Ultron. Follow. I mean, you know.
What do you got for that, Rob? What do you got for the Ultron learning how to go through the shield?
Well, Rob's like specified he went through the shield. It said he was there by the time the shield went down.
No, it said after the shield. I literally just read this because that's the part I'm trying to write for the script.
After the shield went down, he came back?
That's what they say. I think I even have the panel pulled up because that's what I was looking at when you walked in. Hold on. So, I mean, I'll verify my wording to make sure that I'm not incorrect.
Right. But in any case,
it's a wording thing.
It was an afterthought. Like, it was just, we need to explain how it happened because a lot of people are going to ask questions. Now, surprisingly enough, I did not remember.
I will say this. I was wrong. Rob is right. It says basically not long before the planetary defense shield went off.
That's what I thought.
Oh, okay. All right. So,
I mean, I was wrong.
Fair enough.
Well, you don't have to apologize.
I was wrong. I was wrong, Rob.
Thankfully,
you're right, okay?
It's not like you. I'm not like a lot of comic book fans. Like my belief in the stories are not tied to my identity. It's okay.
Well said, sir.
Well,
put that on a shirt. I'll wear that shirt.
The solid shirt.
But that besides the point, I feel like the Pimtron thing was a wasted opportunity. I at least hope that this army that he's apparently building is used in in another plot soon. The invasion of Ultron. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, they got it in the back
just
box.
taking the Ultron version of Annihilation and just putting it on Earth.
Well, here's also
Yeah.
Here's also the thing, too, and something I really hope the Omega addresses. When Kobik comes and puts everything back in order, it's more than just her putting it back in order. She's also deleting the divergent timeline wherein Steve Rogers believed himself to always be a Hydra sleeper agent. So does that mean everything that happened around that also gets changed, too? Is this like a butterfly effect ripple thing we got going on?
So, from what I understand is going on, is that still remains... because Hydra Cap is just arrested. That he's not gone. So I believe that
his timeline is deleting.
Well, I'm pretty sure that all remains because that version of Cap, Rob's the one that explained this to me because I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Is nothing but a memory. So it's the memory of the original timeline, but the things have already been changed for Hydra Cap. So I think we're going to be feeling the ramifications of everything for a very long time. Hence why it's been released that Deadpool is now a villain again. Because everyone believes he's a villain.
Right.
If she changed everything, then that would not be a case.
That's true.
I thought the idea was, and I'm pretty sure this is what happened. She went back and because what happened in the original part was Kobik went back and changed it so Steve Rogers was Hydra.
Yeah.
And then
all along
the Axis won, and then the Allies used the Cosmic Cube to change it so that they didn't lose, and that created that new timeline.
Or is that just what Elsa St. Clair was telling him? Because she was full of shit the whole time. I assumed she was just lying, and this was part of his indictment.
So Rob's got something for this. What do you got, Rob?
No, all Kobik did was just change things back to the way they were when Captain America was a Hydra agent. Because remember, like he has a Cosmic Cube, he shows up, so that like whisks all the Avengers away. He makes everything the perfect Hydra world. And then Kobik comes back and says nope and sets things like they were before he whisked everybody away.
Right.
So in this new universe, the way it stands now, like Captain America was still a Hydra agent. He's still, the Axis still won, yada, yada, yada. All that stuff is still intact. It's just that the memory of classic Captain America from the Vanishing Point is now the Captain America.
That's horrible.
Cap was taken away.
Okay, but Nick Spencer said on his own Twitter when someone asked him which Cap was real, Spencer said both are real. It's just one exists in a divergent timeline that no longer exists, and one is now the made proper one because the timeline was fixed. Again, if someone wants to dig up those tweets, that's what he said.
That's not how that works.
You can't
Nick Spencer's tweets.
There's a whole bunch of
doesn't work that way, Nick. Nope.
I mean,
that's what he
they
said.
are both real in the sense that it's like if you were to take somebody's spirit away and then their body still walks around. Physically, Hydra Captain America is Steve Rogers. He's a real Steve
Yes,
Rogers.
that's how I feel.
But in
Well, like
terms of
Hydra Captain America,
spiritually,
Steve Rogers
classic Captain
from-
America is classic Steve Rogers.
Yeah, no, from birth till now, Evil Steve or Stevel is the
That's the
He's
name Ron
real
dubbed him in
Captain
issue
America.
4.
like he is real Captain America. Like if his mother were to touch him, like you know what I mean, he was born and he lived all the way up to now, and now he's in jail. And this other Captain America, who's the one everyone likes, is Magic Steve Rogers that has all the same like memories and experiences of the last Captain America.
Yeah.
Sans Hydra reform. But also, he never was born or was created. He's literally just a manifestation of memories.
It was the
Of
Spider-Man
dreams.
Clone Saga issue where Ben Reilly's the real Peter Parker, and Peter Parker is the fake clone. Until we want to rotate it back, what we're going to do is make Hydra Cap melt, and we'll be like, he degenerated.
He was never real. Oh my god.
That's why that never that's why that doesn't work. Like the only way to make the story make sense is to say we are living in a different universe now. Like is to take the DC Rebirth approach. Dr. Manhattan messed with something, everything's different now. That's the only way it works. Because you would literally have to say, okay, there is classic Captain America Steve Rogers, the guy who whatever fought against the Nazis, so on and so forth. All right, that's the main Marvel universe. All right. And then you come back and you say, okay, now Steve Rogers was changed into a Hydra agent. They can't both exist at the same time. One has to be the main Marvel universe, one has to be an alternate reality.
That's how I feel.
That's the issue, is which one is the alternate reality. And my argument is it's one of those things where it's like the what if stories, right? Like everything in the Marvel universe transpired the way it always did until Spider-Man chose not to give up the Venom symbiote, and then that universe continues on. And so that's what we're in. That's how I would pawn it off. I would say, well, this is just now the main Marvel universe. The what if universe is what if, Captain America fought against the Nazis and was never a Hydra agent, and that kind of a thing.
And this is all up to the Omega to explain. If they're smart, I would like to see some Marty McFly Back to the Future thing for Steve. Like, oh no, I'm fading out of existence because where I was doesn't exist
anymore. They need
anymore.
to unmake it so that Steve Rogers was never changed into a Hydra agent.
Which I think that was the editorial thing
they
they were
get back
in.
Rick Jones and Black Widow, and I don't.
Fine. That's what they're going to do it anyway. That's actually cleaner than doing it some other way.
It is super cleaner because you're literally going to throw it all on the shoulders of just some writer somewhere in 3 years and say good luck.
Who has to explain where she came from?
Yeah,
when
no,
they
again, talking about the editorial
thing.
thing.
The ending of Secret Empire was definitely editorial control. That's the one thing that I was kind of upset about, is because I think the story would have been better, and I think the future of the Marvel Universe would have been better if the superheroes lost. If like Hydra Captain America won, and it was just like we are like this is now a Hydra.
This is the world we live in.
With Dark Reign.
Yeah, I was going to say, you mean Dark Reign 2?
Yeah.
Well,
Darker Reign.
Okay, so we've brought out a lot of points out there. We're getting to the end of our normal podcast time, but before we can go close it out, I want to know,
that flew
how
by.
do you guys feel about us moving into Generations and then Legacy? Bear in mind, we know very little about that, but so far my experience with Generations has been half of them I've liked. The other half I question why it exists.
They're
they shouldn't even been published.
You know what the best Generations book is right now? And it's a book that doesn't even have Generations in its title. It's the current run of Daredevil right now, where he got Foggy back, got his red suit back, is fighting the Kingpin again, and no one's making a big deal of this.
That's because Daredevil won't matter until season 3 comes out.
And then they'll fucking change his suit again, or make Danny him again, or you're not wrong. Then he'll fight the Sin Eater up there.
You say that with such hatred.
God
in your
damn
voice.
it, they're gonna do it again.
You're not wrong.
I can't wait for season 3, man. But anyway,
FGC Clever Fox says it best, and I agree with this. Wolverine's the best one. And
it's a great,
really good.
Wolverine is an amazing story, and it doesn't even have to be a Generations tie-in. I felt the Hulk one was pointless. I felt the Thor one was pointless.
It sort of was.
I like
the Thor one.
Fun, but not necessary.
Right, yeah.
Oh, no, but the Thor one is necessary because Jason Aaron's writing the Legacy one shot, and he plants some seeds in there.
Yeah.
I liked Phoenix when she was a bird.
Yes.
And for those wondering why I enjoy the Wolverine one, for me at least, I enjoy Classic Logan and I enjoy X-23. And one of the things, and they've always done a really good job with the father-daughter dynamic, but she never got to say goodbye to him. And this is like such a sweet way for her to say goodbye to her proper father. Instead
it
of
was
like,
a slam dunk.
Yeah, instead of like the old man Logan method and things like that. No. This was she gets to say goodbye. And this was a really strong and powerful issue. And I really wish it wasn't tied into Generations, because if the rest of them come out the way these are, where they're kind of lackluster or subpar, And this is just going to be washed away as...
Well, they can just say that it had it's so inconsequential that there's no reason for it not to have happened. So you can enjoy the Wolverine one, and you can just ignore that awful Hulk one or this terrible Iron Man one.
I haven't read that
you
one
really
yet.
didn't
Has
like
anyone
that
read
one.
the Iron Man
Don't.
No.
I did.
Just don't waste your time. I mean,
I don't know, man.
it
Dude, it's like
it sets
pulling
things
teeth.
up, and the first 4 pages are gorgeous, and the rest of it's garbage.
I mean, look at it. I'm pulling it up.
I enjoyed it
It is-
because it's going to be important for what Bendis will be doing later with
Well, that's the
Infamous
thing.
and Invincible.
There's a lot of retreading, like Bendis. You know what Bendis loves? He loves Morgan Le Fay fighting Iron Man in the future. Remember Age
Yep.
of Ultron?
I
He also
do.
loves reminding you that he read Doom Quest and that he read Triumph and Torment. He
Hey, I
loves
read those
reminding
too.
you about that because that's all referenced in every Doctor Doom and or Iron Man book he writes. Those 2 books, the only ones he wants you to know that he read. Anyway,
Yeah,
but you were asking about the ending.
Infamous
Uh,
Iron Man is
or-
on what, like number 8 or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we still have like, damn, what do we have? We have like 4 months until it finishes.
Yeah.
Dude, see, that's why I hate monthly books, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, but if you don't buy 'em, they don't- they cancel them.
Spoiled me.
Yeah,
They really did.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Those are
because
great.
now it seems like a
Good job,
lifetime
DC.
by the time the story ends. They're like, hey, Rob,
But,
are you going to do Infamous Iron Man because the story just ended? It's like, yeah, but I forgot what happened.
It's rough, yeah, and it takes like 11 minutes to read a single issue written by Bendis.
Badum Tish.
But oh yeah, so Marvel Legacy.
Do we know anything other than Avengers 10,000 BC?
That's 10 billion
That's-
BC. or whatever.
That's
shot
the
that
one
sets
new
the
thing
stage
we
for
know.
Whatever the next thing is. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Marvel reached back and just started calling it the Heroic Age again, which I wouldn't agree with. I think I always thought that was a cool name.
It's a good name.
Yeah, it was a great name. I mean, it all came out of like, what was it? It came out of fear itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with Avengers Volume 2, when Red Hulk joined the team and stuff, like,
Yeah. Like, that was
oh
always
man,
really
did
cool
Steve
for-
joined the Illuminati?
Do I-
Oh, yeah.
Remember when Steve joins the Illuminati at the
Oh,
end of that?
Yes, dude, that was
And he
so
gets
good.
an Infinity
Jonathan
Stone, he's like,
Hickman.
all right, let's do this. And you're like, yeah! Man,
was
Marvel
super
has
cool.
got... Hey, remember that from 8 years ago, guys? Remember how awesome Marvel was?
They were
One of
so
the few
amazing
things-
back then.
One of the few things we do know about Legacy looking forward, judging by just the solicitations that we've seen so far, a lot of heroes fighting villains and a lot of heroes fighting their classic villains. I hope they keep up with this. I hope that's the one lesson they walked
man,
away.
I want to see Iron Man and Captain America fight it out again.
That'd be so great.
I haven't
Like-
seen it in literally a month.
A couple
Yeah,
know
I
what's
don't know.
funny?
I am wildly excited for what comes next in Marvel because we
You
can
are?
go back to the same old stories that we've been reading about the same old heroes.
See,
and
I
the
agree more with
same old
Rob.
Odin's son picking up his hammer and
I know.
throwing it at an enemy, just like we've been reading for the last 50 years.
Years.
So-
It's gonna be great.
I'm actually, I'm more on Rob's side here than I'm not actually. Like, say what you want about like all the crazy new ground that Marvel's been doing. It's like we're doing everything. We're throwing everything at the wall. A book for everybody and a book for every month. And yes, I know
what's that
that's-
X-Men book, though? Put that down. Put that down. That's fantastic. We'll get that out of here, too.
Yeah, no
Don't
more of
throw
that.
everything at the wall.
As a matter of fact, do more Inhumans. We want more Inhumans.
Yeah, get more Inhumans and throw those to the wall.
Is that Reed Richards? Get the fuck out of here with that.
Make him
Wait, no, Human
Mephisto.
Torch is still popular. Put him in something. Put him in something.
Not on my watch. Look, you can have adult Franklin Richards for a couple panels.
Now, side note, I was doing Deadpool 2099, and I love Deadpool's comment. He's like, "Where's the Fantastic 54?" I'm like, ah.
Wow.
I like that.
You know what I really
But
like?
yeah,
What?
what's that?
Walking Bread.
I was hoping that was where that was going.
Yep.
Well scouted, sir.
So, I mean, I wanted to talk about the leak as well that came out of Marvel supposedly, and it's all supposed. But was that confirmed to
I
be
didn't
false,
read it.
or did it just get left the way it is?
Which one? What?
Did you guys not hear
Like
about
the,
that?
Yeah.
You guys didn't hear about that?
No,
Are you
I
talking
don't know
about
what
the
you're talking-
4chan leak that has like the
Dude.
point-by-point thing, or are you talking about something else?
It's like the huge point by point, like
Yeah, I read that.
yeah, okay.
It was huge. Yeah.
It was
By the
crazy.
way,
Someone
I read
linked
that,
me to
I'm like,
it.
we've
Oh,
been-
you didn't read
I-
it, Joel? Oh my god.
No, I didn't.
If you haven't read this, by the way, it's literally we said this, we said this,
That
we've
is
said
the only
this.
reason why I think it might be fake. Because
Yeah.
there's so much confirmation bias to everything that the fans have said for so long.
Yes.
I'm like, there's too much that if this is accurate, then general fans have been right about so much shit.
Which is hard to believe. The other thing
is.
is it has a really heavy reliance on Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like Spider-Man's the key to all this. It's just like, and by the way, the marriage is not coming back. And oh, I'm really mad about it. I'm like, that's very fanny. That's not like a person who works.
Yeah, the people who have worked there have made peace with that.
They know. Like, they know that because they were told that 5 years ago. Like,
I can't even find it anymore. I
Yeah,
got brushed
no.
on the rug because there was no confirmation either way.
Huh.
no,
Yeah,
I mean,
it was released one day, and then like one or two websites picked it up. And then
No,
nobody
they all
ever
picked
said
it
anything about
up, but there was no confirmation either way.
Oh, I only thought there were like I only saw a couple websites.
Oh no,
that
it
picked
hit a ball. It made the whole rounds eventually.
Oh, okay.
I read it. I was like, yep.
If you can find it,
Sure,
give it, and
probably.
let me know on a message on here, and I will put it up as a link. But basically, what it is I'll give a quick rundown of it because it's massive.
It's
but
so
it's a
big.
supposed leak from internal Marvel of one of the guys inside of the office leaked it out. Basically, that he was tired of the direction Marvel's been going. Editorials in a mess. They didn't know what they were doing. Like, and some of this stuff sounds accurate. Like they didn't realize how bad it was going to get when they did Riri Williams. And like they didn't realize that they had just swapped every superhero around, which may be true, maybe not. I don't know.
I could definitely believe that because there's another thing they mentioned where it's like there's half the amount of editors than there are books.
Yeah.
Like we have twice as many books and half as many editors, and none of them are being given like actual power because there's one guy upstairs who tells them what to do all the time, like who can literally just rip the posters off the wall. Like it's rough.
Right,
Like,
and they basically state like
Thank you, Rob.
Spider-Man's never going to go back to the way it was, which is something actually Dan Slott said like 2 years ago. They would
he's
never
he's been saying it in message boards and everywhere like every day.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't say you weren't informed.
Right.
Like
They also apparently aren't going to bring back Wolverine, but they are going to they're going to pick Old Man Logan Wolverine, and they're going to make X-23 the sidekick. Spider-Man's going to be the Amazing Spider-Man's going to be done by Nick Spencer now. Dan Slott,
Interesting.
they're scared of losing Dan Slott, but they didn't want to take him off of Spider-Man for that reason. So they moved
They're
him
gonna
to
give him
Friendly
the title.
Neighborhood or one of those.
yeah, that's the Peter David run series. They canceled that like way too soon, like 10 years ago.
Yeah. So, but it's like a whole bunch of confirmation to what everyone's been complaining about. But the biggest thing in there that I definitely agree with, even if it's not true, is that everyone in New York is fearful that Disney's going to come in and move them to LA to put it all under one house. Now, for those
Because
of
it
you
worked
who
for
don't
DC.
know- yes, exactly. DC, after New 52, they had a great couple of years, but they started to fall apart fast, and the stories were turning to shit. They were doing big events that didn't work out, and WB was like, well, that's because you have people in New York, you have people in LA. They moved everyone to LA during the Convergence event, and ever since then, we've been having a great DC, great stories, everything's been working. And the fear inside of Marvel right now is that they're going to shut down the New York division, move them over with the rest of Disney, and then go in and do it that way.
Yeah. Now that said, there's also a lot of parallels between Marvel Legacy and Convergence, because Convergence was the stopgap that they released that was supposedly really important, but was also horrible, but it filled the time so that DC could move to Burbank. I think that a lot of people are suspicious that the idea that Marvel Legacy is basically going to be Marvel's
they linked
Convergence.
Here we go. They linked it.
Yeah, I'm reading
There you
it
go.
now. Actually, that's
And
why
that,
I
like,
went quiet.
Legacy will be the thing that fills the gap for until Marvel can either make the switch over or until they make their big move, which God only knows what it could be, because I don't think anyone's in charge at Marvel, and I don't think anyone has like a master plan.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
it's
and
real
that's one of the
bad.
things they said, that there is really no master plan, that the only reason the X-Men exist, they know they can't get rid of them, but they're building off nostalgia because they don't want to make new things that Fox can use.
Yes.
They legitimately thought they could replace the X-Men with the Inhumans. They
Yep.
have legitimately said no more Fantastic Four. But like I said, a lot of this just sounds too convenient. A lot of it's just complete
does.
confirmation.
Yeah. It sounds very like, it just sounds like everything, like every thread you've read over the last 5 years condensed into one bullet point. Like, here's what the fans want, or what they've, not what they want, but what they've been arguing is happening.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, we need to take the most outlandish piece of this news. And I think it's going to be the resurrection of the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man series. And basically put that on the wall, you know, like write down a post-it note and go thunk, and then go, well, I'll see in 6 months if that happens. And if it happens, then we know this list is legit. And if it doesn't happen, we can forget about it. But like, Yeah, I would watch for something specific and weird from this list and try and confirm it that way.
But I will say this, one thing that did kind of make sense that they went into was that the original plan was they were going to replicate the Secret Invasion to Dark Reign to whatever one came after that trilogy, and so the Secret Empire, a Dark Reign-esque world into a event.
With the Security Council from the movies, I'm just reading this now, and then also like some crazy talk about bringing back the Ultimate line for the new young heroes, and
but they're not gonna bring back the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah,
they're just gonna be like they're gonna be the Ultimate Team,
resurrecting
of those
the line.
Yeah. So like anybody who is not a legacy character would be classified under the Ultimates line.
Which that's just a head scratch. I'm like, well, if you put them in their own little side thing, then they're never going to be taken seriously if you just keep pushing.
That's the thing that cracks me up. People are like, if
they never
really
do.
Want Sam Wilson, you want people to appreciate him, like give him his own title so he can stand on his own 2 feet. I'm like, yeah, they did, and it was terrible. So that tells me that you don't know about it, which means you didn't even read it. And if you didn't know about it, how in the hell can you make an argument about it?
Right.
Yeah.
Now this one here makes me laugh, and I've been talking about this a bunch.
The thing in there, by the way.
Yeah, I see that.
Punisher War Machine is just supposed to be a one-off thing involving Stark Tech. They want to pull the character back from the real-life darkness and imagery. Nathan Edmondson's rep plus Secret Empire has made him really ugly. Yeah. Like, you're not wrong. Like, I think the Punisher should always be a little ugly. He should never be too clean. But they did make him into, like, the worst person. Like, and to represent... And to represent some of the worst people, like that's another thing you could say about Secret Empire. The Punisher wasn't really Punisher. The Punisher was representing people who love Punisher way too much in the real world.
Well, I don't want to dignify this list, but I think that when we get this kind of info dump and everyone else is talking about it, it would be negligent to not at least address it and be like, let's just take something about it and go like, we'll see.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's right. I think there was a leak that happened a while ago that we did that, and it got confirmation as we're going. Like everything's been lining up.
Yeah. I mean, well, and a lot of it is like logical. You know, like when everybody assumed, like when everyone was like, stop trying to replace the X-Men with the Inhumans, and Marvel being like, we're not doing that, and it was like, I have eyes and ears, and I've lived on Earth. I know how this works. And then finally them being like, yeah, it's true. Like they're never going to say that out loud, but it's unless they acquire this shit back, and then they'll be like, yeah, we did that. Nah, but it doesn't matter because you're welcome.
And it's like, even if you just have basic pattern recognition, it's like, they made Deadpool into like a really good, upstanding citizen Avenger. I bet they're going to take him back to his roots because of the new movie soon and make him despicable again. Oh, look, they're making him despicable again.
Yeah, it's more like just think about things for a few minutes, and you'll probably create a list just like this.
It's true. You can set your watch to a lot of these. A lot of these feel like fan-casty ones, is what they feel like. Yeah. Like, hey, where it's like, hey, and there'll be a new Iron Man run where Tony's back, but he's going to be fighting Doctor Doom this time. Like, well, yeah, that's the trajectory of these stories. Where else would it go?
I don't know. Yeah. Doctor Doom's going to stay Iron Man, and he's going to team up and become the sidekick of Tony Stark. I like my idea better.
I would rather read about Iron Man, Doctor Doom right now. You've told the best Doctor Doom story you've ever told. Thanks, Jonathan Hickman. Like, you've reached the end. He became God and took over the world, and then he fought Reed Richards and lost. That's the best you're ever going to get.
Yeah.
How do you top that? You don't.
Yeah, you can't. At least the Fantastic Four went out in a blaze of glory.
They really did.
At least Hickman stuck to his guns and ended it with them.
Yeah.
It was all about them.
Yeah.
So, all right, well... I think we should be closing out the actual weekly poll. Don't forget to stick around as we close out the show. Rob and I are going to move to Destiny. Rob's sitting there jonesing.
No, that's all good, man. I need to go vape is what I need to do.
Well, you can vape in a minute, Rob. You can vape in a minute. Okay? While we shift the plateau.
It's all good.
Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed this classic episode of the Weekly Poll. And the plan is to be back every week, going back to the classic way we used to do it, where we would do this and then stream some gaming afterwards, streaming gaming beforehand. We'll do some stuff like that. If you guys enjoyed this, don't forget to show your love for the Weekly Poll by giving us your subscription over here on Twitch. I think they're half off this month. They're free if you got Twitch Prime or something weird, but we are back. We are back properly. We had a lot of moving.
That's what you're saying.
Individuals are burned out. Joel's fired. You won't see him again.
What else is new? We really are going back. Man, remember the good old days in the Weekly Pull Legacy when Joel wasn't around?
We should do a weekly poll generations. We all hang out with ourselves 3 years ago.
Oh man, I want to hang
We
out with
hang
me
out
from
with
3
Rob
years
with a
ago.
ripped shirt and an afro. Benny with spiked hair and his wife behind him playing video games.
Why are people saying the Falcon was a miniseries? No. Jim Shooter.
Incorrect.
Originally,
No.
in 1983, Jim Shooter wanted to launch the idea of a miniseries, and Falcon was introduced, or Falcon was given his own series. The idea was to move it into an actual ongoing series, and no one liked it. So, like, they didn't. They were like, we're just going to pawn it off as a 4-issue miniseries.
Well, anyway,
Yeah.
guys,
Go
don't
read
forget
Jim
to
Shooter's
follow
blog,
us.
and you'll find out.
Follow us on Twitter at
It's an
The
excellent
Weekly Pull.
blog.
You can find Sal at Sal Says What. I'm at Comicstorian. That is Comics Explained, and that is Joel's Cooking Show. Look it up on YouTube. You will find it.
Hate
Motherfucker.
Joel.
It can't
God
be a classic
damn.
episode unless I mock Joel the whole way through. I feel
He's-
like
he's
The
kinda
Weekly
right.
Pull lost its magic when I stopped mocking Joel.
That was the secret. That's the secret internal leak of the Weekly Pull. Look, guys, we need to take it back to the core 4, and Benny needs to shit on Joel like 50% more.
Exactly. This is the classic Weekly Pull. We've rebirthed.
Yes.
Did we?
Some blue hand stole 10 years.
We the hand of Rob.
What?
Huh?
We've rebirthed. Weekly Pull rebirth. I'm shitting on Joel. Rob is half paying attention. Sal's cheery. We rebirth back to the good old days.